Our next storyteller is a dear friend of mine. He is a children's author, and you should definitely go check out his book, Different is Awesome. You can find it at livingonehanded.com. It's a great book for children about how our differences make us awesome and how you shouldn't be a dick to other people who are different. That's actually in the foreword, I believe. Don't be a dick to people who are different. Actually, no, that's just how you signed my book that I got. You just said, Adam, stop being a dick. That's right. That's right. Please put your hands together for Ryan Haack.
On today's video, we're hearing a great story from the children's author, Ryan Haack.
And then he picked up the butter and he goes, this literally says on the package, I can't believe it's not butter. And I was like, okay, yep, you are correct, my bad.
As you heard in the top of the video, today's story is coming from a great friend of mine named Ryan Haack, who has written a children's book called Different is Awesome. And he's a great guy. He's a great storyteller. And but I should warn you, this video or this story is it deals with some pretty heavy topics. It's mainly a funny story. It's a series of funny stories about Ryan's dad. A lot of funny ones. And but when Ryan told this story, to the day it was the anniversary of his dad's death by suicide. It was the 4-year anniversary of that day. And it's tough. It was really, honestly, a tough night at Story Slam. It was really good, one of the best we've ever had. But there were a lot of stories that were pretty hard, were pretty rough stories. And I was grateful for the way that Ryan chose to tell his tough story, because it made my job easier to get up and be funny afterwards. In fact, Ryan and I kind of have a bit in the middle of his story that you'll see. It was completely unplanned, and you'll see me at the end again kind of poking fun at Ryan. He's a great storyteller. He's a great sport as far as me poking fun at him, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy this story. If you would do us a favor, you can hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, share the video with some friends, all that good stuff, and then if you want to hear more stories, you can check out the podcast by searching for Madison Story Slam on any podcast app that you use. Leave us a rating and a review there. By the way, you could hit the thumbs up here on YouTube for us. That would help a ton too. And then also, if you'd like to see the channel grow and see the podcast grow, you can go to patreon.com/Madison Story Slam, and you can help us boost up a little bit there. It'd be really appreciated. All right, without any further ado, have you noticed that that's kind of like my favorite line to say on these videos? I got to come up with other things to say. It's tough to do this on the fly, but without further ado, here's Ryan Haack.
First of all, I need to lodge an official complaint. No mic stand. Speak with my hands a lot. This might be an issue. Need to wipe my forehead a lot. All right. Good night. All right. Now that we have that out of the way. Had to do that. So here's the thing, guys. Today is the 4-year anniversary of my dad's death by suicide. It is also as if the universe is telling me not to forget, because it's also International Survivors of Suicide Lost Day. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I should remember that today. As if I needed help remembering that. And so I want to actually, I actually love Fran Du's story, because I think I've even said this here before. I'm a crier. I love crying. It's the freaking best thing ever. And I've been crying a lot lately. And so I would like to maybe laugh a little bit. So first of all, thanks for laughing already. That was great. But I wanted to tell just a couple stories about my dad that make me laugh. My dad was always joking around and making other people laugh. I remember when my wife and I, who is here tonight for the first time both of us here at the same time, which is awesome. Yeah. But I remember when we had our son, he was our first kid, and we were going by the book on everything, right? Like, do this then, this now, we can't do this then. And we went to Culver's, and it was just the three of us and my dad and my stepmom. We're all sitting there. My dad's got my son in his lap, and we're like, he cannot have custard yet. He is not at the age where he can have custard. The book says so. Pretty sure he'll die, so please no custard. And so we're sitting there. See, this is where the mic stand would come in real handy right now. Because I gotta get it out. Sure. Or you could just hold it. You could hold it for me. Here, just hold it. Yes.
Asshole. It doesn't fit.
Oh, I was going to say something so inappropriate. I'm glad a lot of people here were like, I didn't say it, babe. I didn't say it. All right. So anyway, this is like 3 minutes of my time now. I would like to request my time.
Let's hear it for
Don't be a dick, Adam. Okay, anyway, so my dad's holding my son on his lap, and we have custard, and he literally does this move where he just looks me in the eye, gets some custard on his finger, and just jams it into my son's mouth. And Julie's looking at me like, do something about your father. Our child is about to die because he gave him ice cream. And that was a great moment. That was so fun. Because then I was like, oh man, we can do anything with this kid, and he'll be totally fine. My dad just showed us. So then, as I was growing up, I would go to my dad's house like every other weekend. My parents were divorced, and so I'd go over there, and this one day he asked me just to go to the store and to get a gallon of milk and some butter, which sounds made up. That's like one of those like things that you tell little kids. What is that? Like a loaf of bread, a gallon of like whatever. But he told me to go get a gallon of milk and some butter, and it's like 2-3 blocks away from our house, so it's not that far, but I'm a little kid. So I go over, I get it, I come home, and my dad looks at it and immediately just goes, what in the hell is this? And I'm like, it's milk and butter, like you asked me to get. And he said, well, first of all, this is white water. I had gotten skim milk, which was like a sin. And I was like, oh gosh, I agree. That's horrible. No one should have skim milk. And then he picked up the butter and he goes, this literally says on the package, I can't believe it's not butter. And I was like, okay, yep, you are correct. My bad. It was the lowest costing one. I thought that I would just do that. So he goes, take it back. And I was like, what? You could do that? So I had to walk back to the store with a gallon of milk and this butter and be like, hi, I just got this, and this isn't actually milk, and also this actually explicitly says it's not butter. So could you get me one that says, like, is there one that says this is definitely butter? I'll take that one, because that would be great. I think my dad would love that. So we got that worked out. And then there was another time where I went through this phase in middle school where I was a great student, by the way, and that was really sarcastic. But we went through this phase, some friends of ours, we would take needles, and then we would take masking tape, and we would we'd make them into like little darts, and then we would just have straws, and we'd sit in the back row of class, and when the teacher was writing stuff on the board, we would just shoot the darts at the cork board next to her, and she would just kind of be like, okay. So I was at home downstairs, and I had one of those like sliding doors. It wasn't one that you open. It was one of those like bamboo doors that like slides open and close. So I'm in my room and I'm making these little darts, and all of a sudden my dad just goes, wham! And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm making darts. And I'm like, don't say you're making darts. That's bad. So he's like, make darts, cool. So I had this poster of Mike Ditka on my wall that I use for target practice. And so my dad was like, ooh, let me try. And I was like, all right, cool. So I show him how to do it. And then I go up. He's standing back there. I go up to get my dart out. And he goes, phew! And it's stuck in my hand. And I'm like, Dad, A, wait your turn. Like, but B, I only have the one hand. Could you just, be a little careful? Please. I get that it's fun. I know you were anticipating the joy of, I get it. But so we did that. And then I also did this thing when I was in high school called Very Special Arts. Does anybody familiar with that? So there's Very Special Arts in Wisconsin, and it's basically for kids and adults who have disabilities to get to experience the arts. And so what we did when I was in high school, it's mostly, I would say, cognitively disabled folks. But we would go and we'd get to march with the UW marching band at Camp Randall. And it was cool. And so I was a volunteer for that to help. And so I went to his house this one weekend, and I was wearing my Very Special Arts shirt, and we're in the kitchen, and my dad kind of looks at me, and he's like, you could just see him thinking, and he's like, so is that fun? So the Very Special Arts thing, is that cool? And I'm like, yeah, it's really cool. Like, you get to go out, Camp Randall, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay, all right. And I was like, and it said volunteer on the back of my shirt, but he didn't see that part. And so he thought I was part of the Very Special Arts program, which I was not. And it really, screwed him up. Because he was like, I was like, oh, no, Dad, I'm a volunteer for it. And he was like, oh, yes, of course you are. And it wouldn't be bad if you were part of it. It would be fine. That would make sense. It just was confusing, that's all. He was trying to, be so careful with how he was wording everything. And it was so cute, because he was like, it just didn't make any sense to him that I would be a part of that. But he was trying to be like, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful that you're doing that. And so those are some of the stories that make me laugh about my dad. I do know when I grew up, when I asked Julie to marry me, I remember being in that same kitchen and him saying, I always wondered who would choose you. And I was like, I know that didn't come out how you meant it. I get that. So I'm just gonna let it be. I know you meant who is the most amazing person on earth who's going to choose you. I get it. Gotta work on how you say those things, though. But that was a moment that we shared that I was just gonna yep, I know what you mean. It's fine. And then even when my kids, when Sam was gonna be born, he's my oldest, and I remember him saying to me, and we didn't talk a whole lot about my arm, to be honest. When I was little, here's another foundational thing. He'd take me to the park, and if kids were gathering around and pointing at me or saying things about me or whatever, I didn't really notice because I was oblivious when he did. And so he would do things like, hey guys, any of you guys go to an alligator pit before? And I'd kind of look at him and be like, yeah, took Ryan one time and got too close, so you just want to be careful if you go there. And all the kids are like, they didn't care about me at all. They're just like, who's this creep? And I'm just like, hey, Dad. But I remember him before Sam was born, him saying, well, are you worried about him not having a hand? And I was like, oh, is that something I should worry about? I didn't even think about it. And it was really interesting to me that he did think about that. I really didn't think I was going to cry, but he did think about those things a lot. He thought about me a lot, and that was important to him, even when it wasn't something that was important to me or that I cared about. He cared about it a lot, and he was the one to kind of think about that for me. And he didn't make it a big deal or anything, but it was just one of those things that showed me that he cared. So today, I remember him, and I'm grateful that I had so much time with him, and it sucks that he got to his breaking point, and that it ended his story. I've had a lot of breaking points myself, but I have not broken yet, and I will not break today, and I hope that you will not either. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Ryan. Ryan's so demanding. He requests a mic stand. Different is an asshole, is what it is. That's your next book. I dig it. #1 bestseller. It's always so. I look at my job here as to like kind of get up here and like poke fun at people's stories afterwards and like make jokes. We've had 2 suicide stories tonight, so it's really hard to do that after those. But again, Ryan, thanks for opening up and sharing and like letting us see that part of you.